and we do hope that we participate in what is about to happen. Thank you very much for joining the class. My name is Joy Agagwu, and I'm based in what is about the IELTS tutor for overseas nurses. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope we have a fruitful time. All right, please, when you're coming into the class, do us a favor, have your microphone muted, put your video on so that we can have a maximum time today while we learn. Just make sure you can hear me, and if you can't hear me, let me know that you can't hear me. I hope we are practicing. I do hope we are practicing because we need to keep practicing. I got a mail of some of your works. I've had a bit of issues with my phone, so I had to authorize again on the desktop, and I've just started looking at them. Hopefully, I should be able to finish, but please keep being patient with me because I'm still working. I still work and I try to keep up with vetting your work. The work we did in our last class, I remember us creating a question prompt in the class. And I said that we should write before 10 p.m. and send to the platform. I think it was just 2 people or 3 people that did that. It's not really encouraging, though. It's not encouraging, but then it's not worrisome. Maybe you people already know it, you know the answer. So that's what I will assume, that you don't need to practice it, and that's why you didn't send it in. Other than that, is fine. We'll just go ahead to our class today. It's a reading class, and I'm kind of excited. We've taken our time to do speaking. We've dwelt so much on writing, and now we are doing a reading class today, and in the next class as well. I think it's still going to be a reading class. So welcome to the class. Reading, academic reading. The reading class, your reading test is made up of 40 questions, and you have to answer them in 60 minutes. So automatically you have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer a question if you are going to allocate the time. There's no time given for you to transfer your work, unlike it will happen in your listening test. So you need to directly write your answers in the answer sheet provided as you go along. The words of the reading text are between maybe 2,000 to 2,750 words, and they are taken from topics of general interest. They are non-professional, and if you see any unfamiliar word, usually there will be a glossary at the end to explain the meaning and the context in which they are using such words. There are various questions that you will find, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. The academic reading has 40 questions, and there are different types of questions that you are going to find. We will start discussing those types of questions. Remember that topics in the reading test, they are topics from our regular lives. They are non-specialists, they are non-professionals, so anybody will know what they mean. There may be topics that you get confused or you don't have a deep knowledge of it. They are not expecting you to have any prior knowledge of any topic that comes out in your reading. It's just a reading test, okay? It's just a reading test. It's just there to test your ability to understand the information that you have been given. Just before we go ahead with the types of questions, I want you to take note of the fact that you have synonyms to look out for as much as you do in your writing test as well. You need to be on the lookout for paraphrases as well. So you don't expect word for word answers. When you see word for word answers actually in your reading test, you should run away from them, because there will always be some phrases that makes it different. Some phrases will make it different. All right. So yes, we will start taking the different types of reading tests that you will see. First on the list is our multiple choice, what we usually call MCQ. There has been a bit of misunderstanding in some IELTS questions where some people, I don't know where they got that information from, are telling that it's negative marking. No, IELTS is not negative marking. They don't deduct the marks that you didn't score from the one that you scored. If you score 5, they'll give you your 5. Nobody is going to minus 5 or minus 10 from what you already scored, okay? Nobody is going to subtract your marks for any reason. As long as you get your scores, they give you your scores according to what you deserve, and that's the end of the point. So in multiple choice, what are we saying about multiple choice questions? In both the academic and the non-academic, that's the general reading papers, you are going to come across multiple choice, all right? You are going to be asked questions that has to do with you picking options. Multiple choice has to do with, giving you different options and you selecting the most appropriate to the question that you are asked. There are 3 types of the multiple choice questions. 3 types. We have where you will be given 4 options to select one from. You have the one with 5 options to select 2, and then with 6 options to select 2 or 3, depending on what they want, what the instruction says. The first option, which is the one option from amongst 4, that's 4 options to select one, is the most common that you will see. All right. Now, there are also different forms. I've talked about the different types that you can see. There are different forms that these questions may take. Your questions may take the form of them asking you to complete a sentence or to answer a question. It's either you just pick an option or they give you options and you pick it to complete a sentence. So irrespective of what it is, multiple choice is multiple choice. So I was saying that generally the MCQ test is doing what? Is testing your ability to understand the main ideas that is contained in a text, and then for you to look for specific information, testing your ideas, testing how well you can understand a given text, and then looking for specific information from the text that you have been given. You will need to quickly identify the main idea in order for you to locate the correct answer, all right, in the text. So when you do this, it will help you, okay, to like eradicate which answers are wrong already. Sometimes you are able to do what we call a 50-50 by looking at the question. You already know the answer. Somehow you have an idea of what it should be, and you are able to eliminate which one is not correct, okay? So when you are able to like do what we call 50-50 and you have 2 options that are outrightly wrong, and you are left with 2 options that you have to choose from. At this point, you need to be careful for phrases, for synonyms, for commas, for clauses that are inside those statements, because they are the things that make the question, the answer, either right or wrong. So when you have 2 answers looking at you and you need to make a choice, you need to select one of the options, what do? You bring them side by side with the question to see what makes them correct or what makes them wrong. When you have finally decided for your right answer, have a look again and see why the answer is correct. All right? Don't just choose and go. And that's the reason why you need to practice, because the more you practice, the more you improve on your timing. Remember, with all of these tips that I'm giving, with all the stories I'm telling, it can happen for one question just in 1 minute and 30 seconds, which you should not even consume on them, because you should still be able to go over your work, all right, so that you can correct your spelling. Sometimes when you have to fill in the gap and all of that, you will have to correct your spellings and check, okay, for if your answer makes sense grammatically or if they don't. So you look for specific information to answer your questions. Now, with multiple questions, multiple choice questions, there are many mistakes that we make, all right, as individuals. And we've decided that, okay, if we're able to identify these mistakes, then we will know the tips that should be in place to help us overcome these mistakes. One of the common mistakes that we make is the fact that we read the text before the questions. How do we solve this? Please go ahead, read the questions before you read the text. Because when you read the questions before you read the text, you are solution oriented, you are goal focused, you are looking for a particular thing. All right, it's just like you having an address of a house, and then you are in an area, you know the house number. Okay, you know the house number. As you enter into that area, you just start looking for the house number to identify which it is. You are not just going to start knocking from door to door asking, okay, is this person here? This is the area they said I should come. So I am in Ikeja, and I'm in GRA Ikeja. I'm on maybe Lugard Street or something. And you start knocking from house to house just for you to know whether the person lives there. You do that, you're reading blindly. If you read the questions, then you can read the text so that you can easily identify what your answer is. Okay, another thing is we not answering questions, not answering the questions at all. This seems like a very obvious one, because it will shock you to know that there are still people who will leave blank spaces. You don't leave blank spaces in an IELTS exam, in any exam at all. Don't leave blank spaces. When you have done your best and you have sought out your answers, you have written them all out, and it's like you don't know the answer, please go ahead, have a guess. Have a guess and see. You don't know what will happen, because when you have 4 options and you have not been able to eliminate any wrong answer, if you have a guess, excuse me, if you have a guess, you stand a 25% chance, and you wouldn't want to lose that chance. It's worth taking. The risk is worth taking. And then if you already had a guess, and you are able to, if you are able to eliminate 2 options and you are left with 2, instead of, you don't know which one to choose between the 2, you should know that you have 50% chance when you choose any of them, and you have 100% chance when you have chosen the correct one. So have a guess. Don't leave any blank spaces. All right? Don't leave any blank spaces. Am I too fast? Does it make sense? Today, I don't have time to talk too much. If you are coming into this class and you don't have your video on, when I see you on the screen, I'll just take you out. We're not going to be begging again. I'm not impatient, but I'm becoming tired with having to keep saying the same thing every day, and you keep distracting me. And sometimes I'm trying to flow with the tide, and your disobedience, if I can use that word, or not compliant, makes me go back to what I'm not supposed to go back to at that point. And at the end, you won't get what you are supposed to get from me. Before you register for the class, I'm sure that if we are careful enough and we have read the instruction, you should know that if you join our Zoom class, it's a virtual class. We should see you. All right, it's virtual. If you cannot have your video on, we do understand that you can't have your video on. Probably you are in a bus, you're in a position, you're in your house, or you're somewhere where you don't want to have your video on. All right, and then maybe you are in your house and you're busy, or maybe you don't just want to show your face. Please don't come to a class where people are having a video class and you come in with your audio alone, even after being instructed to have your video on. That is rude and it's not good. Please. So I was telling us about multiple choice questions, and I was trying to explain to us about the common problems that we usually have. Like I've said already, reading the text before we read the question, you are wasting your time if you do that. And at the end, you lose time. Remember, you've got just 60 minutes to answer 40 questions. So time at this rate is not your friend. All right. And then I was talking, and I also mentioned the fact that some people jump answers and they say, well, I don't know it. Please don't just leave any blank space. Write something down. Select something. You stand a chance of getting your marks if you get it correctly. All right. Another easy thing that happens, easy but tricky, is the fact that the examiners will trick you. How do your examiners trick you? They love to try, all right, to use what we call distractors. These distractors are things that look like the correct answer but are actually incorrect. So when you locate the correct section in the reading text, there will appear to be like 2 or 3 correct answers. Meanwhile, there's a clause. There's always maybe like a verb, maybe like a qualifying word or something. There's always maybe like a cohesive device, something that they will attach in the middle of it. And if you're not careful enough, if you're the type that don't read the complete sentence, you will miss the essence and you will miss your correct answer. At the end, you go for the wrong option. So don't let your examiners trick you. You need to know what synonyms are available for your words, okay? You know what synonyms are available for that particular specific keyword that you're looking for, so that you can bring in these synonyms, and even when they try to change it, you will understand that no, this one does not fit in. Okay, so a very common trick is matching lots of keywords from the question options to part of the text. They will pick keywords from your text, okay, and then they'll put them in the answer spaces for you. And because you have seen them in the text, you just go ahead straight and pick them from the options. Meanwhile, it is wrong. They have used a verb either before or after. They have used a qualifying word or something before or after that keyword, and it makes it the wrong option. So when you choose it, you stand a chance of losing marks. Let's be very, very careful, okay? All right. Another mistake that we make is the fact that we don't read the complete sentences. We don't read the complete sentences. We just come in and you start, and next thing is because you have seen something similar. Oh, okay, that's the correct one. I just saw it there. Meanwhile, it's wrong. So you need to try to read the whole sentence. The first part of the sentence might look correct, but the second part of it, the second half, might change the meaning entirely. They will say something very, very likely, as in similar or about the same thing with what you have in your text. And the next minute, if you continue, there may be a but or a however. And if you're not careful and you go ahead and choose it without reading the complete sentence, you stand a chance of losing your marks. Okay, because words like but and however, they can change the meaning of a whole sentence. All right, so your examiners are aware. Okay, they are aware that you are trying to get the answers as quick as possible. So they'll put these things there, and if you are not wise, you fall for the trick and you lose marks. Another thing is not reading the text carefully. In as much as we are saying you should be fast with your reading, we are saying that you need to maximize your time as much as possible, okay? But you need to also read the text carefully. That means that you need to be moderate. You don't have to be too slow and you don't have to be too fast, because if you are too slow, you won't be able to finish everything. And if you are too fast, you will miss information in the middle of the text. And at the end of the day, you just jump out and you have done the test to your best knowledge and ability. Meanwhile, you could have done better if you had taken your time to be more careful. Because of the use of the distractors as well, there are so many of them, and some you would think that they are the correct answer, so they jump at you, and at the end you're not careful enough to read this question. So if you don't read the text carefully, you will choose the incorrect answer. I need you to take some time, all right, to really understand the meaning of a sentence before you make your choice. With all of this, what have I been saying? I've been saying that for your multiple choice questions, you should read the questions before you read the text. That way you are reading, you are goal focused, you are goal oriented, you're looking for something, and you definitely get what you're looking for. You will also, often be able to eliminate two options or three sometimes, depending on how many options you have been given. So sometimes, most of the times, with the common one that we usually have, that's the what's it called again? The one with 4 options for you to choose one from. That's the most common one. With that, you are able to eliminate 2 incorrect answers at a glance. That's the truth. You will be able to eliminate them, just remove them from there, and you're left with 2 options to choose from. If you look out for synonyms, if you look out for paraphrases, then you will get the correct answer at the end of the day. So if you are unsure of what the difference between them is, all right, especially when you have been able to eliminate two, you are unsure because both of them look correct to you, bring them side by side with that side of the passage again, and you will have your correct answer. If eventually you don't have a correct answer, please don't leave it blank, have a guess and move on, all right? If you're running out of time and you really don't know the answer, have a guess. If you are confused about the answer, trust your instinct, have a guess. Don't be tricked by the examiner's distractors, especially keywords from the questions that look the same as those in the text. Run away from them because most of the times, the words before them or the words after them will make them the wrong option. So if you choose the wrong choice, you will get the wrong, you get a low band and it will affect what you're looking for. As much as possible, when you are reading, after you have read the question, in your mind, in your brain, in your heart of heart, try to predict, the answer even before you finish reading the passage. Predict the answer. That way, you are more likely to locate the correct answer than when you have not been able to predict the answer. It will help you to find your answers easily, more easily than you would have found. Now, before deciding on your answer, always go back and carefully read the questions before making your final decision. That way, you will leave no stone unturned, all right? And you eventually make the right choice. One thing with this is the fact that the answers will be in the same order as the text. Yes, the answers to your MCQ questions, they are in the same order as the text. For instance, if you have paragraph 1, your question 1, if you found the answer to question 1 in the paragraph 2, please don't go back to paragraph 1 to look for answer to number 2. They flow, they go hand in hand. So if in paragraph 1, you have found the answer to number 1 in sentence 1, or in sentence 2 or 3, for instance, let's say sentence 3, and you are able to locate your answer, and you're looking for the answer to number 3 now, please don't go to the previous ones, okay? Continue from where you got the answer to the last one because they flow together. The answers will be in the same order as the text. You might be asked about facts or opinions. So facts, as we all know, they are things that are true, while opinions are, people's suggestions and even your own suggestions as well. Facts are true. They are information that cannot be disproved. They are things that you cannot say, no, it's not like that. But opinions can be proven wrong eventually. So you need to know, because sometimes you read something, you read the passage, you read a text, and it's talking about facts. And then you get to the options, and they are giving you options that has to do with it being disproved. Just know it that because the passage is a factual statement, then your answer has to be factual as well. Your answer must be in agreement with what your passage is saying. So what do? Read the questions very carefully. Skim the text to get the general meaning of it. Remember that MCQ is teaching you or is testing you on the knowledge of the general meaning of the whole context, all right? And then your ability to also look for specific information. That's what MCQ is asking. When you are reading, please underline keywords. Underline keywords so you don't miss out. Underline keywords so you don't miss out, okay? Underline keywords so you don't miss out. When you underline those keywords, try to know their synonyms and be on the lookout in the answers or in the passage for these synonyms. Be on the lookout for synonyms and paraphrases of those keywords. Read the choices, underline any keyword again among the choices. Think about the difference in meaning between the different choices and how they can be different. In your mind, try to predict your own answer. Read the text, and then using those keywords and synonyms, you will be able to locate the area where the answer is situated. Read the part of the text again very carefully after you have located your answer. That way you are sure of what you're doing. Think about not just why the answer is correct, but why the other options are also wrong. What makes the other options to be wrong? You go back and you read the questions again, then you can mark your final answer. Remember that all of this has to be done in 1 minute 30 seconds for each question. Any question? Any confusion? Do we understand?
Yes, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon,
Yes,
Omolole.
ma. Just for clarification, ma. Maybe I got you wrong. You said for multiple options like that, we should read the question before the text, or is it the text before going to the question?
No, read the questions before the text.
Okay, thank you, ma.
You're welcome. Any other question, please? Somebody raising their hand? No? Okay, so we move to the next one. All right. The next one is called matching heading. How many of us have been practicing reading? If you have been practicing reading, have you ever come across matching heading? Yeah? Where they give you information and then you need to match what they give options as well, and good. So that's what we are going to discuss now. In the IELTS reading test, you will see definitely questions that has to do with matching headings. This type of question is trying to test your ability to understand the main idea of each paragraph. You are matching the headings to the paragraphs, okay? For instance, there are 4 paragraphs in the explanation of the making of cocoa, all right? And the making of cocoa has to do with the planting. That's cocoa, chocolate drink and all of that. That's what I mean. The planting of the cocoa, you harvest it, then they process it, and then it becomes a drink. So they tell you, you have a particular paragraph that is giving you information on how cocoa is planted and groomed. And then you have another one that is talking about how you go when it is ripe, and the cutting and the washing, the drying of the seedlings and all of that. And you go to another paragraph that is talking about the processing, talking about from the time it is packaged, when it is dried, it goes into a machine, mixed with some other things, the grinding, the processes. And then another paragraph is talking about the powdered one that is made, the powdered chocolate now made, being packaged into things and maybe cellophane or nylons, as we call it, or anything, all right, or sachets. Now, there we have headings, subheadings that are supposed to be like titles. Yes, let me use that word. Titles to these paragraphs. So you can see planting, you can see harvesting, you can see processing. They are expecting you to understand the whole idea in the whole of that paragraph, to understand the idea of that particular paragraph and give it a name, give it a title, give it a topic, give it a heading. So the headings are, sometimes short sentences that summarizes the information in the paragraph. And you have to pick the one that best summarizes the information. You'll be given between 5 to 7 headings and asked to match each heading in the reading text to one heading. There are always more headings than you need. So don't worry when you have done that and you still have extra headings that you have not used. Don't bother yourself. So today we'll be looking at the problems, common problems, all right, common problems that people have with matching heading. Usually in matching heading, there's too much information because you are forced to read everything from beginning to the end. There's too much information to get through and there's not enough time. Trying to match a word okay, from the heading to a word in the text is one other problem, where we are looking for specific words. Some of the headings may appear to have the same meaning, like you have 2 headings or 3 headings and they are talking about the same thing. But if you look very closely, something makes the difference in those headings. Some people will tell you to read the first sentence of the paragraph and the last sentence. Please don't do it. People reading the first sentence and the last sentence of the paragraph before picking their answers always end up picking the wrong choices. When you spend too much time on one paragraph, confusing yourself, trying to crack your brain, restricting, your thinking, at the end of the day, you waste so much time and you won't be able to finish. Unfortunately, for this kind of questions, the answers are not in the same order, which means that you need to keep going and going and going. All right? You need to keep going and going and going. So what do we do? First of all, I will advise you that when you get your IELTS paper and you see matching heading, please go and do it first. Go and do what? Do it first. Because remember that in reading for this kind of question type, you go through everything. That way, you have the general knowledge and you will understand the general meaning of the text as a whole. This will help you with the rest of the questions that are connected to that passage. So that the time that you have used, okay, to read all these questions and to answer the matching heading first, you will be able to gain it when you go down and the answers are easier for you to find. Why? Because you have read the passage and you understand what the passage is about now. Please just know it that you are not expected to read every word of the text. No. Understand the general meaning, yes, but not every word of the text. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It will take you too long. Okay? So in a matching heading, I usually advise people, if you can, to read the first 2 sentences and the last 2 sentences. Because the first 2 sentences and the last 2 sentences, the first 2 sentences will give you an introduction into the information in that paragraph, and the last 2 sentences will conclude on that information. So you will be able to draw a conclusion when you have read those sentences. If there are words that you don't understand, please don't worry about them. It's just a reading test, so you don't need to understand the meaning of every word. If peradventure, like I told us in the beginning, I said that when there's an unfamiliar word, they will give you a glossary at the end. If you don't find a glossary, it means that those words have nothing to do with you. Those words are just there probably because of their meaning, but they don't change anything in the text. Do we understand? Be very, very much aware of synonyms. I keep singing it, synonyms, both in your speaking, in listening. Be on the lookout for synonyms, okay? In reading, please, be on the lookout for synonyms. And in writing, use synonyms, paraphrases. Many people look for words that match exactly with the words in the text. Meanwhile, those are the wrong options. They ignore the synonyms. Please don't ignore synonyms, all right? Remember that a keyword will always have a meaning. So think of the meaning of those keywords. If there are 2 or 3 headings that are very similar, bring all of them close to the paragraph and see reasons or ways why those 2 or 3, why any of them is wrong and why the other one is right. Ignore anything that you already know about this topic. Whatever topic you are being asked about, please ignore it. Whatever topics you are asked about, ignore anything you know about it. I keep giving us examples in this class. Give us examples in this class that we are nurses, and then they go and set probably a question that has to do with wound dressing. And in that wound dressing, probably they are trying to highlight the steps or the stages, okay, your preparation as a nurse and all of that, and how you carry out the procedure as a whole. And they have skipped one side that you do know about. Please forget that side. Once you see it, unboot yourself from what you already know, okay? From what you already know, so that you can work just based on the passage. All right, so ignore whatever you already know about the passage and go ahead with just the limited information that you are giving. Restrict yourself to the information that you are giving. I said it that please, if you see this kind of questions, do it first. Don't look at the headings first. Don't look at the headings first. You know, initially I told you to read the questions first. This time around, please don't look at the headings first. When you don't look at the headings first, you will be able to identify within yourself as you're reading what that passage should be. For instance, if you are reading about the cocoa example that I gave, and you get to the stage where you know the chocolate drink is available, the powder is available, it's made, it's processed, and then they are putting them into small containers, all right, and then they put them into bigger ones for them to transport or to distribute to the consumers or customers. As you are reading that passage, you should know that that stage, that paragraph should be talking about what? Packaging. So when you see anything relative to packaging in the options, you'll quickly know that that is the correct answer. That's the reason why you should not read, all right, the headings first of all. If you read the headings first, it may mislead you. Please read the first two and the last two sentences. Look at the heading and identify keywords within each heading. Match any heading that are very obvious. There are some of them that are obvious, they are not wrong. But when they are very obvious, please match it ASAP, all right? So that you can continue with the other ones. If there are 4 of them and you've done 2 so quickly, you will have more time to concentrate on doing the other ones. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay. So you can write for anyone, like I tried to explain, that you don't understand or that you think there are 2 or 3 headings that really match, okay, that looks like they're talking about this. Bring them side by side, and then you need to compare and contrast. You need to look out for yourself how they have changed or what makes the difference, what phrase, what word has caused them to be different. If you don't know the answer, please leave it and go first. You come back later. If you still don't know it, then you can have a guess. Sometimes when we don't know the answer, because maybe it's number 2, number 3, leave it, go forward. In the course of you doing the other questions, the answer to that one will come, and then you can quickly choose it and have your band. Any questions? Any question? No question, right? Omolola, any question?
No, ma, it's well understood.
Perfect, thank you. Now we move to the next one. Oh, I have some jobs. We move to the next one. And that one is what? Next to matching heading, we have matching information. I hope you know there's a difference. Yeah? There's a difference. Matching heading, the answer does not appear in the same order. So you just need to keep reading and praying that God help you. Excuse me. Matching information is the 3rd type of question that we'll be doing on our reading text today. In this kind of question, you are asked to match statements to paragraphs in the reading text. The statements could be a reason for something, it could be a description of something, all right? It could be a summary, or a definition. It could be a fact or an explanation of something. Whatever they are, however they come, doesn't matter. All you need to do, all right, is to have a knowledge of this. You don't need specialist knowledge. You just need to have a knowledge of the reading text, not a specialist knowledge. If they are describing anything about nursing, they are not asking you questions about nursing. They are asking you questions about reading based on that particular passage that you have seen. All right? Okay. Another thing is that you don't need to understand what the whole passage is about. Just find specific information in the paragraph, match it to one of the statements. The answer will normally be contained in a whole phrase or in a sentence rather than a single word. That's where you will find questions like them talking about maybe some people have made, I don't know if any of you have come across it. When I was practicing, I had loads of them where some people there's a description of something and one of the persons will come and say, this is my own idea, this is what I am saying about it. And the next thing is another person comes and says, this is the way I see it, this is the way, So in your matching information, you will now see a particular statement that they will link to one of those people. They'll say so and so person purported that. They may put the person's name and remove the information, yeah? Or they may put the information there and remove the name or the first part of the information for you to complete it. So it's usually not a single word. Unlike matching heading, it may be a phrase. Matching heading may be a phrase, maybe a sentence, all right? But it's usually short. They are short statements, maybe like processing or the beginning or the making of cocoa, all right? Or the making of chocolate drinks or the packaging. You know those words. Those are the things that they can use for matching headings. But in matching information, they will say something that the information is there. So sometimes what I do, a trick that helped me was to look for, if they have said, there's always the quotation marks. So you just look for those specific words, just pick it and go into your passage and scan, your eyes scanning like that of the eagles, and you'll find it and you'll be able to complete your statement at the end of the day. That's one major difference between matching information and matching heading. Okay? You don't need to understand what the whole passage is about, what the whole paragraph is about. Just find the specific information in the paragraph and match it to one of the statements. The answer will normally be contained in a whole phrase or in a sentence rather than a single word, like matching heading that may come in a single or two words or very short phrases. There will normally be more paragraphs than you need, than the questions. So like I said to you in matching heading, the same thing I'm saying now, that you should not worry yourself when you don't have, when you've not used all of the headings. Now you need to read, you need to be able to scan, okay? You will need to be able to skim and to scan information in the paragraph. That's what makes you very, very good with matching information. All right? We have common problems here as well. One of the biggest problems is the fact that you need to look at the whole text. So it's a big problem actually. The answers could be anywhere in the text and they do not come in the same order. They could be anywhere located in the text and they don't come in the same order. Also, the answers might not be the main idea of the passage. You know that in matching heading, I told you, matching heading, yeah, I told you that when you read the first two and the last two, they give you an idea of what the whole passage or what the whole paragraph is all about. But here, there's nothing like that because the idea may be in the middle, it may be anywhere. It may not be just the main idea of your paragraph. So you need to read everything. There's so much irrelevant information that you don't need, but you have to read them all because you're looking for your answers. So as much as possible, maximize time. Okay, maximize time. Not all of them, not all paragraphs contain an answer, and some paragraphs may contain more than one answer. That's the reason why you have to read all of them. Okay, you have to read all, because if I say, okay, don't read paragraph 1, we don't know whether the answer is in paragraph 1. So for this kind of question, what do? Do it as the last one. If you see matching heading, do it first. If you see matching information, leave it for later, because before you get there, you would have finished all the other questions related to it, and it will give you a better understanding of the passage, and you'll be able to locate the areas where your answers are. Where your answers are, you locate them more easily. So do it last. Then take note of names, names of places, names of people, numbers in the questions, because they are often very easy to find in the answers in the passage. Just know it that there may be more than one synonyms. All right, you will be doing more of synonyms than you'll be doing word to word or word for word point blank. All right, you will be doing more of synonyms than them. For example, if you have in your word, in your passage, you have like 25%, and in the options you may have 1/4, which is 25%. Sometimes you may have about the fourth part, or you can hear them say a quarter. All of them is talking about what? 25%. So you need to look out for synonyms. Need to look out for synonyms. What do? Please read the instructions very carefully. Read the questions first, then think about synonyms and how you could paraphrase the statement, and this will help you to identify the answers. Saying each statement in your own words can help you to do this. So quickly skim the reading text by trying to understand the general meaning of the text. That will help you with your answers. You will locate your answers quickly. Scan the text, the paragraphs you think might contain the answer. Scan it correctly, scan it very well. Then you can move on to select an answer for the passage. Unfortunately, this too does not come in the order that the question comes. So you need to read everything. You need to read everything. You need to read everything. Do we understand? Any question? Any questions? We don't have any questions. Right? Good. We move on. The next question type that I'll be talking about is labeling of a diagram. I'm just trying to see if there's anything on the YouTube for me. Labeling of a diagram. Hello, good evening. If you are watching us from YouTube, thank you very much for joining the class today. You can still drop your questions, you know, here on the YouTube, and we will answer. I think I replied some persons already in the course of the week. So yes, thank you very much for joining. I hope you're learning and I hope you're practicing as well. We've been doing our reading and discussing presently the types of questions that you will see. Now we are doing labeling of a diagram. Labeling of a diagram. There are different types of diagrams that you will see. You could see a technical drawing of a machine. You could see an invention, or you could see something from the natural world or a design. and whatever it is, it does not matter. As you answer one, that's how you answer the others as well. Okay.
Not the couple. Back.
Sorry. So we'll be talking about just how to answer the questions. The diagram does not matter. The diagram you find does not matter. Okay. Lisa King, I removed you because you don't have your video on, and now you are back again. I'm going to remove you again, and if you come in again without your video still, I'll block you from the class. The main problem with this kind of question is the fact that we focus so much on the diagram. You're trying to understand what the diagram is. That should not be the case, okay? You don't have to understand what kind of diagram it is. You don't have to know what kind of diagram it is or anything that it entails. Just answer the questions that concerns it and go your way. I know that when you see unfamiliar diagram, sometimes it can put you coupled with the anxiety and the fear and the scare of the IELTS exam. Of the IELTS exam itself. It can put you off stage, but yes, you don't have to be anxious. It's okay if you're a little bit anxious, but in the course of writing, you should calm down, all right, so that you can answer your questions more correctly and in a more relaxed atmosphere. The IELTS centers are very quiet and it's a place for you to relax. So they try as much as possible, considering that they are aware that we are anxious when we come for this exam. They try to make the environment as conducive as possible. Another big problem is that we fail to locate the paragraph that contains the answers quickly. And so we keep wasting time going, over and over the same kind of the same thing always. Sometimes also we lose marks because we write the wrong number of words or incorrect spellings. They don't joke with your spellings. They don't joke with it. You see these questions that will tell you in not more than 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 words or a number. If you don't keep to those instructions, you will fail the exam. You will fail the exam, because if the exam that carries those instructions, if the questions are like 6 of them, if you have failed 6 already from 40 under normal circumstances, it takes the grace of God for you to make about 7. All right, it takes the grace of God for you to do what? To make a band 7, because you don't even know whether the other ones you have written, they are all correct. So you need to adhere strictly to the instructions as much as possible. Don't write the wrong number of words. If you write the wrong spelling of a thing or of a word, an item or something, they will mark you wrong and you lose your marks. Now you need to check how many words. Check how many words. You need to check how many words. All right? You need to check how many words you are allowed to write. Identify the type of word that you have been told to write, whether it is a noun, a verb, an adjective, or whether it is a number that you have been asked to write. This will help you to choose the correct answer. The answers do not always come in the same order as the text. So this is another one. Doesn't come in the same order. So far, what we have been discussing is only MCQ that the answers come in the same order. Please, when you see these questions, do the ones that are easier for you first. You don't have to dwell on it, and it's not a listening test that you say, if I don't do number 1 and I move to number 2, I'll miss it. No, it's a reading test, so you are lucky in that aspect. The ones that you can do, quickly do them. Don't dwell so much on one particular question such that all your time is spent on it and you have less time to answer the easier questions. Try to predict the answer even before you read the text. So remember that here you are still reading the questions before you read the text. So predict your answer. What did I say? Check the number of words that you can write. Study the diagram well to understand what is happening with it. All right. Highlight keywords and labels. Identify the type of words that is required, whether it is a noun, a pronoun, a verb, or an adjective that is required of you, or whether it is a number that is required of you. Okay? You need to read in more details. Read in more detail to find the answer. And most importantly, please check what? Your spellings. If your spelling is wrong, your answer is wrong. Any question? Any question? No question. I like this class today. It means everybody is just understanding. Ah, that's very good. All right, we have about 3 or so more, 4 more to go. Now we are on sentence completion. Sentence completion is my favorite. I like sentence completion. But it's the most.
Ma, I was raising my hand.
You were raising your hand and I didn't see you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, ask your question.
Okay. My question is related to the timing. Since we are not expected to go into the exam hall with our watch, I heard you don't go in with wristwatch. How do we know when to move from the first reading, from the first passage to the second one, and then to the third? Because sometimes if you're not checking your time, you might spend more time in the first passage before you go to the next one.
Have you been reading?
Yes, ma.
Good. In the IELTS hall where I wrote, which is the same with every other place, there's a very big wall clock. The one with the second hand. Even the last person at the back without glasses will see it very well. And there's also the digital clock. We had two clocks. There's a digital clock, the one that is doing the 1, 2, 3, the one we used to have when we were in primary school now. There's a wall one. It's also there, and with light around it so that you can see. Where I wrote, we had 2 clocks. We had 2 timers, or what will I call it now? A wall clock, the one with the second hand, and then beside it, a bit far from it though, close to the screen, okay, was the digital watch on the wall, digital wall clock. It was there. So if you want to do that, if you want to go by that, you can check on the wall clock that you're provided with. But I would like you to practice in a way that you don't have to be checking time, except to make sure that your work is ongoing and your time is still your friend. You don't have to spend a specific period or time on section 1. That's what I want to explain. You don't say I'm spending 10 minutes in section 1, 10 minutes in section. Sometimes section 2 can have the most difficult questions. So you know that if you have, for instance, spent 10 minutes or 15 minutes in section 2 that has 6 questions, you'll be surprised that the subsequent ones are very easy and you find yourself finishing the whole exam in 45 minutes. That way you have time to come back to your work and then to see, have I really finished? I thought they said it's so hard, it's so difficult. The timing is this and the timing is that. That's for someone who is a bit fast. Now, if you find out that you are spending too much time, even in your brain, you'll be like, I spent so much time on this particular number, let me move. I did explain to us, for each question, the allotted time is how many minutes? 1 minute 30 seconds by their time. And that means plus the time you used to answer it and the time you used to review it. So all in all, if I were you, I should time myself in such a way that I have 50 minutes to finish my text, to finish my answers from number 1 to number 40, and I have 10 minutes to read again my answers and to cross-check my work, to dot my I, to cross my T, to correct my spellings, and to make sure that I am using the right alphabet. When you don't use the right case, that is lowercase, uppercase, it fails you. It can make you fail. I used lowercase all through. I think in listening, I used capital letter, that's caps lock, uppercase. I used uppercase in listening. But when I started my writing, I discovered that my uppercase, the time I spend in writing with the uppercase is more than the time I spend. Like, for instance, you want to write A, you just do like this. A is done. Small letter, am I correct? Like this, A is done. But capital letter A, you do like this, you come and cross. You are spending more time. I put that into consideration. You want to write B. B is like this. You are finished. B. And then you are coming to write capital B. And some of us that know how to design, you want to bring one side of it out very well, because, my dear, those ones will not give you mark. Oh. Just write it clearly, let it be legible, let it be clear, and pass and go. That's what we're saying. Nobody is marking you better because you're an artist. Please. Those of us that want to write S, and you first of all take one side of the S from the ground, take one up, and then you come down, and you're all that yanga, it won't pay you in the exam. In this IELTS, so don't worry, when you're writing your love letters or you're writing your notes that you read later on, you can do all of that. But for the sake of IELTS, please be as precise, concise, what other word can I use, as possible. Be brief. Be very, very brief. In fact, if there's a way of saying it, I will say it, then I will open your brain and write it and put it inside, so that by the time you see it, the thing will just appear. You don't have a choice. That will be the one that will come out. But I can't do it. So please, as much as possible, avoid things that will make you waste time. All right? Use the kind of locks, either caps lock or not caps lock, or uppercase, lowercase, capital letters, small letters. Decide on which one has you can write, faster in. That should be the one you should go for. And in your writing as well, if you are the one that do line, then bring it down. Our colleagues, they write line and they are written something for you to understand. Please, if you are the type with that kind of writing, as much as possible, start practicing single. Write single, okay? Write your I, N, and G. Don't do ING. No, please. So that you don't get into trouble in the course of answering your questions. You don't need a particular time for you to do one session. That's the overall summary. Any other question? Who again is raising hand? Omolola, are you raising your hand? Okay.
No, ma.
That's fine. All right, so we move to the next thing. I was explaining to us that we're going to sentence completion, and I like sentence completion so much. All right. In sentence completion question types that you will find, I know you will definitely see there are some of these questions that you must see it. No matter how you study, you must see it. You must see it. When you see these kind of questions, is where you have gaps. Okay? You have gaps in the sentences. You'll be given a number of sentences with gaps in them, and then asked to complete the sentences with words from the reading text. That's what sentence completion is about. Sometimes it could be a summary, and we call that one summary completion. We'll get to that. So sentence completion, there are vocabulary tests, actually. It's where you will see synonyms playing raw like this, where you see a word having 10 minutes and you can practically see them in action. So when you see a particular side or a particular place, a particular line, a particular phrase or paragraph, no, not paragraph, sentence, there will be some keywords in there that will change. The meaning, what they will write in that sentence is not exact for what they will write in the text. So, but you need to identify that area so that you can write the meaning, the second meaning of it there. You don't have to go and pick word for word because you won't even find. All right? So if an instruction says you should write not more than 2 words, please don't write 3 words. Not more than 2 words. If they say not less than 2 words, it's a different case. Not more than 2 words. Please, you can write 1 word and you can write 2 words. If it says not more than 2 words and or a number, it means you can write 2 words and a number. You can write 1 word and a number. You can write 1 word and you can write just a number. Depends on what the answer is. Do you understand? Because it's the instruction part that people used to fail very well. The most difficult part is the instruction part. So you need to know what your paraphrases are, what your synonyms are. It's very important, okay? Because Cambridge English, that is what they use. Cambridge marked the IELTS reading test in order for you to be successful. They use more of those synonyms and paraphrases. One of the problems, is the fact that we don't adhere to the number of words that we are asked. All right, we don't read the instructions, especially we Nigerians. We don't read the instructions. We don't read the instructions. And it's not so good if we don't read the instructions because we'll miss our way. So you need to read the instructions, stick to your instructions very well, all right? So that you can write in accordance to their guideline. Another problem, like I've already explained, is the fact that we're looking for word for word. We are looking for the exact same word. You can't find the exact same word. And if you spend too much time looking for exact same word, you will end up not having enough time to finish the other questions. Please, don't read the text before the question. Read the question before the text. When you read the question before the text, somehow there's something in your head that is popping up already about the words that are supposed to complete these sentences, and you will be able to pick them up, all right, as soon as you find them in the passage. So what do? You need to check how many words. You need to know about hyphenated words. For instance, a state of the art is 1 word, even though it is 4 words put together. State of the and art put together. But when it is hyphenated, it is 1 word. So if you're talking about something that has to do with a sophisticated theater, like a sophisticated studio or something, or like a museum, you can say it's a state-of-the-art museum, state-of-the-art studio, okay, state-of-the-art theater. Do you understand my point? That way you have 2 words, state-of-the-art theater, state-of-the-art museum, whatever. You have 2 words. But when you actually mean to write state of the art, but you do not put those hyphens in between them, it will be counted as 4 words and you miss your mark. You lose your mark. So be careful. Words like self-centeredness. It can be written as self and centeredness. And it can be written as self-centeredness when you hyphenate it. So you need to be sure which one is hyphenated, which one is not hyphenated, and you need to know the context that you are writing those words. Sometimes you see a question asking you using words from the text. That time you can now use words from the text. But if it's not saying using words from the text, please don't use the exact same word from the text. The answers, fortunately, appear in the same order as the question, just like your MCQ. So if in paragraph 1 you have seen the answers to number 1 and 2, don't go back again to the beginning of the paragraph to look for answers to number 3. Or you have seen answers to number 2 in paragraph 3, don't go to paragraph 1 and 2 to look for answers to number 4. Keep moving, keep moving. We move. All right. This will take me to another of the issue. One of the other issues that we have when it comes to MCQ, one of the problems, is the fact that we write answers that are not grammatically correct. Whatever your answers are, when you read them, please make sure that it makes sense to you. Your answers need to make sense grammatically. It has to be correct. So you need to understand whether it is a verb, an adjective, a noun, or an adverb that you are asked to write, because it will help you to answer your questions much more correctly. And when scanning for the answer, please make sure that you're thinking about the paraphrases and the synonyms. We cannot overemphasize the use of paraphrases and synonyms here. Okay? So overall, what are your strategies, or what do I advise you to do when you have sentence completion questions? What am I saying that you should do? What am I saying we should do? Now, read the instructions carefully. Read the incomplete sentences first before you go ahead. Locate where it is, where your answer is, before you locate, any other thing. Go for your answers correctly. Forget about the story that is behind the passage. Read the incomplete sentence again when you have tried to put in an answer. Read the incomplete sentence again, put in your answer, read the question, the answer again, to ensure that you are grammatically correct. Make sure that you have the right spelling of words and you have the right number of words as well. It must make sense grammatically. Right spelling, right word, right number of words. If they say 3, please don't go beyond 3. If not, you will fail. All right? Any question? Do we have a question? Okay, hello ma, please, is in a situation where we have to write the name of a person as an answer? Yes, please. Make your choice of words to use, or letters to use, whether it is uppercase or lowercase. Whatever you decide, that is the way your answer should be all through, irrespective of what you're writing. Any question on this one? No question on this one. Remember that when you don't ask any question, it's either you understand so well or you don't understand at all. So which one? You understand? Yeah, let's see your hand. You understand what we are saying? Good, we understand. The whole class understand. Me too, I understand. So summary completion is next to sentence completion. This is like similar to them. Both of them are similar, but in summary completion, you just have to understand the general meaning of the summary, okay? And then you scan for the correct information in the text, and you need to identify paraphrases and synonyms. So in summary completion, what are you expected to do? What are you expected to do? You try to predict your answers before you look at the options of the text. This will help you to spot the correct answer. Okay? You need to know whether the gap has to be filled with either a noun, a verb, a pronoun, an adjective, an adverb. If your answer makes sense, your answer should make sense grammatically as well. Look for synonyms, please. Synonyms, paraphrases. Don't spend too much time looking for answers to one question. I've said it before. As soon as you find out you don't know it, please move on. We'll come back to it later. Sometimes these answers just bring themselves up as you do the other questions. The answer to this one also normally come in the same order as the text. So you see, they're in the same order. summary completion, sentence completion, and multiple choice. Their answers come in the same order. Then the rest of them, you have to choose for yourself. All right? So when usually they give you a list of words. That's one thing with the summary completion. In summary completion, you'll be given a summary information from the text, and there will be like some gaps, okay, in the summary. You either be given a list of words to fill in the gap, or you'll be asked to choose from the reading text. Whichever way it is, or however they ask you the question, then you can go ahead to do your stuff. Your job is just to insert some of those words from the list if you are given a list, or for you to pick from the text if you are not given a list of words. When you are given a list of words, usually you have more words, okay, than you will need. So don't worry, don't say, I didn't use all the words. Am I sure that I've done the right thing? This word, hey, it looks like this. No, please, so answer it and go. Don't worry, even if you don't finish using them. And remember that it comes in the same order as the text, so it makes it a bit easier for you to identify these words. One more thing you should have at the back of your mind, and I've been saying and I'll keep saying, is that summary completion, whatever sentence completion, synonyms, paraphrases. You need to know what the gap should be filled with. You need to know if it's a noun or a verb. If you're asking you to choose from the passage, please don't look for a specific word. Don't look for a particular word that you have seen already. No, you won't find it though. It's not going to be useful to you. They come in the same order. You get a list of words sometimes, and at other times you don't get a list of words. One of the problems here that you must abstain from, or that you must run away from after recognizing it, is that people read so much in details. No, nobody is expecting you to have a detailed understanding of a text. So don't spend too much time reading it to have a detailed understanding, and that way you lose your marks. I mean, your time. And if you lose time, you may not be able to finish with the other task, and that will result in a lower band. Please don't ignore grammar rules. Don't ignore grammar rules. Stick to the number of words, if at all there's a number of words. They want to put some words from the text directly looking at you. Don't go for those words, okay? Don't go for those words. Read the questions carefully. Note how many words you can write. Normally maybe 1, 2, or 3 highest. Sometimes numbers, all right? And if you get maybe words from the reading text, you should know. They will write it, they will indicate if you have to use the words, or they give you a list of words. Most common is the one with the list of words. You need to skim the summary, try to understand the overall meaning of the summary so that you know what word can come in to make it complete. Try to predict your answer, and then if you are given a list of words, try to guess 2 or 3 of the answer, or whatever the answer might be, even before you go ahead to start writing, or before you go ahead to read the text. Look at a part of the section more carefully and choose the correct answer. You need to be very, very careful with synonyms and paraphrases. I will keep saying it. And then finally, check to see if your answer makes sense grammatically, or if it does not make sense grammatically. Are we together? Are we together? Yes, we are together. All right. Any question, please? Any question? Who has a question? You're talking, please unmute yourself and talk. Yes, please. Agnes, I thought you were saying something. Do we have any question? Yes, Omolola, you can go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much, ma. My question is that I can't really differentiate between that sentence completion and this summary completion, even though they have some similarities, like the answer comes in the same order, but I can't really differentiate between the two. Please, ma, can you just go over it again, ma? Thank you, ma.
You don't need to differentiate between the two. It's even good that you cannot differentiate between the two because both of them are very, very similar.
Okay.
Summary completion, sentence completion. If you tell me what is a sentence,
What is a sentence?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. A sentence can be defined as group of words that have meaning.
Okay, is that all?
In a sentence, it can be a simple or a complex sentences depending on the use of words in the sentence. Sometimes you can have a phrase or a clause. Sometimes you can have both a phrase and a clause to make a complete statement.
Okay, you know that a sentence is complete in itself, yeah?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So most of the time, a sentence has a subject, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
It has an object. That way, it makes a complete sentence. It's a set of words, a group of words, okay, that is complete in itself, okay, having a subject and a predicate,
Predicate.
all right? So
Yeah.
yes, it has a subject and a predicate, and its meaning is complete. It's not like a clause. We can
Okay.
get clauses from sentences, okay? But we bring different clauses together to form sentences. Do you get the point now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is a summary?
A summary can be defined like as you are bringing out the cogent points from, let's say, from a passage. You
Okay.
are putting together the whole idea. You are able to bring out the main idea, the main topic sentence from whatever paragraph that you have been given.
So in other words, a summary is a brief, it's a brief statement. Yeah, let me see. Yeah. A summary is a brief statement, maybe of an account. An account, just giving an account about something that has happened. So in a text, when we have a text, you have a long text, and they bring an account of that text. They take some things from that text just to, capture everything in that text, but in a shorter and in a smaller form. That's what a summary is. So summary completion. You now have a summary, and you have in between this summary, there are gaps. You have a main text from where they have derived this summary, but the summary is lacking because it is not complete. There are words that are supposed to complete this summary. So they have given you this passage, and they have given you this summary, and then they've given you some words for you to cross-check if these words from this passage can fit into this summary to give it the same meaning with what we have in the text.
Passage, okay.
That is summary completion.
Yes, ma'am.
Sentence completion, you won't find a summary there. They put sentences to make a summary. But here you are giving sentences that they have picked from the main text, and they have put some loopholes, some gaps in these sentences that you have, and they've asked you to fill them up. So do you now know the difference between sentence completion and summary completion?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I do. Thank you, ma'am.
It's simple English language, isn't it?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
have a summary, you have sentences. And they say, complete this summary for me. And they say, complete these sentences for me.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. All right, so we move to the last but not the least. Who will tell me what is remaining? Kitena, you've been in this class before. Blessing, you've been in this class before. Omololu, Esther, Toyin, wow. Two of you have been in this class before. So going by the list of what you have, which one have we not done?
True or false question?
Okay, so have you been practicing true or false? Is it easier now?
I've been trying my best though.
So if I look at your face, it will just discourage me from, from answering the question if I'm doing true or false. Eh? What is the problem with true or false? I mean, but is it not easier than it was? Those of us practicing. Is anyone practicing at all? Say the truth. Tell me the truth. Have you been practicing? Is it easier? You are still muted.
It's easier.
Okay.
It's easier than it was. Because I know
Yes.
that in our reading class, the major challenge we have, I don't see it as a challenge anymore, was true, false, not giving, yes, no, not giving. Because those are logical, you have to do with logical reasoning. Okay, and the other one has our assumptions as well. So if you attack it with that confused mind, you will not get what you want. You need to see the way we see sentence completion. You need to see the way we see that leveling of a dialogue. Not when you see your sentence completion in the exam and you're like, hey, so where they pray? You don't come, hey, I need the only pass it. What do I do? Already, you have started, you have confused yourself. Remember what I told us about, this class is all encompassing. What I told us about your ability to open up your minds. I keep saying it and I'll be saying it in between that once you have concluded on something, you have restricted your brain from thinking about it, from going diverse ways to like have ideas about it. You have at the end of the day restricted your thinking capacity. Okay, so you may not be able to know exactly what you should have known if you were open. So always keep an open mind towards everything in life, towards this writing, towards the reading, towards speaking. Keep an open mind towards sentence completion. Keep an open mind towards yes, no, not giving. I always like it to be last. The reason is because for some people it will confuse them, and as soon as they are not just understanding, the rest of the things you are talking is just not it. The class today now, why you see that? So they've heard about yes, no, not giving, true, false, not giving, but they didn't hear about any other thing again that happened in the class because nobody then did the class at all again after hearing that one. So yes, no, not giving, true, false, not giving. There are two different things, okay? There are two different kind of questions. The true, false, not giving require you to identify if an information in the text is true or if it's not true. You'll be given a number of factual statements that you have to check the text to see if they are true or not. If it is true, then the answer or the statement agrees with or confirms the information, then it is true. If the text contradicts or is the opposite, all right, if it contradicts or is the opposite of the information that was given to you, then it is what? False. If there's no information at all or it is impossible for you to know, then the answer is not given. The same thing happens for yes, no, not given. It is yes if it confirms the information. It is no if it contradicts or is opposite. It is not given if you can't tell. You can't tell, it is impossible for you to know or you don't understand it. There's no information at all, then it is not given. It is impossible for you to know because there's no information, of course, then it is not given. What are the common problems with true, false, not giving, yes, no, not giving? I know that one of the issues here, the major challenge here is with the not giving option. The not giving options. because most people are not used to answering questions like this. So it causes them lots of problems because they are not sure what to look for. We are not sure. It's not given. Am I really sure it's not given? Let me check again. And you keep checking, my dear. Just go ahead and tick not given. You know why? Because if you have to look for it and look for it and look for it, then it is not there. And if it is not there, it means it's not given. Don't go and look for answers where answers does not exist. And when the answer is there, it's either yes or no. I keep giving us illustrations every day that makes it, like logical, all right, for you to understand what I'm trying to say. Joy is a nurse currently working with the NHS. She is a mother of 3 children and teaches IELTS. Now you have statements here. I've given you a passage, for example. Joy is a mother of 3 children. Yes or no? The
Yes.
answer is what?
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes. Okay.
Yes.
Joy is a mother of 2 boys and a girl. The answer
No.
is what?
Not
No.
given.
The answer is
Not given.
okay. Joy is a teacher of English language.
True. Yes.
False.
International synonyms.
False.
I go for
No.
true. True.
Yes, this is where the trick is.
True. True.
It's
True.
false.
And this is exactly how your exam will come. This is exactly how it is. Okay, so
False.
tell me, if you say true, let me see your hand. If it is true, let me see your hand now. Are you ashamed to show me your hand? How about now? Are we still brethren? Yeah? Okay, so it's true. I'm seeing your hand, so it's true. Clap for yourselves. Clap for yourself. You say it's true because IELTS, is International English Language System Test. Whatever International English Language Test System. All right, so it's English language. So you have chosen that it is true. Clap for yourself. Did they write English there or they wrote IELTS?
Synonyms. It wasn't written. I used synonyms.
Is English language the same thing with IELTS?
False.
I'm teaching you IELTS, the system of the exam. Am I teaching you English language?
No. No.
No. No. No.
Now you need to. I'm getting somewhere. I did tell you from the beginning that you should do what? Ignore any previous knowledge that you have about the reading passage. Go by what you have been given. Follow only the thing that you can see and read. Now, because we all know that English is IELTS, you are now telling me that the answer is yes. The answer is not yes, so you have failed. For yourselves. Okay. So if you say the answer is no, let me see your hand. If you say the answer is no, let me see your hand. Clap for yourself.
False.
Yes, it's false. Let me see your hand. Clap for yourself. The answer is not false. You have also failed. I said that it is the opposite that will make it false. If they had said Joy is not a teacher, then you will say no. Joy teaches IELTS. Now, English language. Joy teaches English language. Joy teaches, yes, but English language is not given. You were not told. They didn't mention English language. Joy teaches, yes, but English language was not mentioned. What was mentioned is IELTS, and that makes it not given. If they had said Joy does not teach and you chose the answer no, you'll be correct. So it has to be the opposite, the exact opposite of that information. I know there's a bit of confusion between the not giving option and the no option. All right, that is because there's an iota of there's always an element of the no option inside the not giving option. So you get confused in there. But remember what I told you when I was explaining at the beginning, that a word before something or a word after something can change the entire meaning of that sentence. All right, so English language has changed the fact that I teach. I teach, yes, but I don't teach English language. They didn't mention that I teach English. So if you are going to say, Joy teaches now, you correct, you take the answer. The English language at the end of that statement has made the answer. Do you understand? Do you understand now? Yes, you do understand. Don't say you didn't understand, please. Okay, I will explain, and I'll keep explaining. And the only way that you can get past this stage, all right, is for you to keep practicing. It's until you practice and then you choose the answer and you are like, this answer is wrong. So which one is correct? And you now see the reason why that one is correct. Then you will understand the whole system better. So what is there? If it is true, yes. If it is not true, no. If it is not given or you don't know, you can't tell. Can you tell? Because they did not mention English language, you can't tell whether I also teach English language along with the IELTS that I teach. I'm teaching you the system of the international language, English language exam. I'm teaching you the system of the exam. I'm not teaching you English language. If I'm teaching you English language, I should come to the class and say, what is a noun? What is a pronoun? All right. Okay, what is an adjective? That is what I should have been teaching you. Yes, I know, Ganiat. The true false not giving is still confusing, but seems to be easier than before. Thank you very much. At least we're getting somewhere. All right. Please, if you are writing in an exam, questions are coming and I want to tackle it as fast as I can. If you're writing in the exam and they ask you, the answer to something is joy, J-O-Y. Please write J, O, and Y in one letter, as in one kind of case. If you are going to use uppercase, write capital J, capital O, capital Y. If you are going to use small case, lowercase, write small letter J, small letter O, small letter Y. Don't do capital letter J, small letter O, and small letter Y. Don't mix it up. That's what IELTS is saying. Whether it is London, for instance, don't write L capital and the rest small letters. Choose one of them to use. Choose what you want to use. Nobody is penalizing you for writing everything in small case, in lower case, or for writing everything in upper cases. Just choose one. Is that okay? I've answered the question. Have I answered your question, please? Yes, I have. Okay. So true, false, not given. True, false, not given is where we have the most problem. But I thank God that somehow we're getting there gradually. We'll get there. What is my suggested strategy for you for true, false, not given? What am I telling you to do if you have a true, false, not given kind of question? Ignore anything that you already know about the topic. You see what just happened? Because you know we are saying English test of competency, and you know it previously. You now decided to choose it and you got the wrong answer. Ignore anything you already know so that you don't make assumptions, okay? Don't make assumptions. If the work only based on the information that you are given. Please identify any words that qualify a statement, like words like beautiful, all, mainly, often, always, occasionally. Those words can change the entire meaning, all right? Can change the entire meaning of your sentence, thereby changing the whole of your answer at the end of the day. Okay? Also, be very careful when you see verbs that qualify statements. Verbs, you have done it before, like claim, believe, and know. We used an example where we said that someone is claiming to be a British citizen. The person claimed, the person is not. So if you have it in a statement in your text that someone is arguing for something because he claims he has the right, he thinks he has the right as he claims to be a British citizen. And then in the statement, you now hear it that in your question, you now see that so and so person is a British citizen. No, the answer is what? Is no, because claiming and being, they are two different things. So the answer is no or false, because they claim they are not. It's the opposite of it. All right. So you need to know the difference between all of those words. Please don't skim and scan the text to find the final answer. You will have to read the appropriate part of the text very carefully because it can be very, very tricky. Don't look for words that exactly match. Don't look for words that exactly match, especially when it has to do with statements. You will find the names will remain the same. They won't change the names, okay? They won't change names. Don't look for words that exactly match so that you don't make mistakes at the end of the day. If you can't find the information you are looking for, then the answer is not given. You can't find it probably because it is not there. Stop wasting your time. If you don't have any idea, despite reading the question carefully, all right, you have carefully read everything, yet you don't have an idea, please put not given there. You probably don't have an idea because it is not given. All right. Now, one good thing with this one is the fact that the answers are in the same order. So we have 7 types, 8 actually, because true, false, not given is different from yes, no, not given. For yes, no, not given, true, false, not given, sentence completion, summary completion, and what's it called? Multiple choice, the answers all come in the same order. Then the remaining 3 of them, the answers don't come in the same order. They can be scattered anywhere. So you need to be very, very careful with the answers and the choices that you make in the exam. Any question? Remember that true, false, not given has to do with facts. All right. Yes, no, not given has to do with assumptions, opinions, proportions, where people are suggesting different kind of things. Okay? And they are the same. Be very, very careful when you have questions that you see true, false, not given. Don't go and write yes, no, not given. If you have to write true, false, not given, don't write yes, no, not given there. And then complete what you're writing. Don't write T for true, F for false, NG for not given. You will fail it. They won't complete it for you. They mark it as wrong spelling. All right, so you need to spell out the correct one. One more thing you need to know is the fact that when you see a question, when you see it in your exam, if you see 4 or 5 questions, those 4 or 5 questions will have element of all of them. One of your questions, your answers will be true, another will be false, another will be not given. So if you have finished answering your true, false, not given section, and you know that you have only true, my dear, you are wrong. If you have only false, you are wrong. If you have only true, false, there's no not given. Please check it again, because the 3 of them must appear as answers in the passage. Does it make sense to you? Ask your questions. No question. Wow, there's no question. So which aspect are we voting for? Which one? Remember that when there's no question, two things. It's either you understood the class so well or you don't understand at all. And you don't want to bother the teacher or to draw the class back. That's why you don't have question. So which one? You understand the question. You understand the sessions, what we have done so far. You understand? Let's see your hand. Yes, you do understand. Okay, Esther Kocha does not understand. And yet she will not ask question. Okay, that's it. So we've come to the end of the reading class today. If there are no questions, there is going to be an announcement. I don't know if it's made it already. I don't know if you've made it already. If he has made the announcement, it's he's gonna say something, all right, about the class. So get ready. Next week, please don't miss the class for anything. We'll do something exciting in the class by next week. Something really, really exciting, and I know you will like it. Don't miss the class next week. Toyin, say what do you want to say, please?
Yes. I want to ask that how often can we send our writing tasks to the email address?
Okay. Your work to the email address. Toyin, the network has started cracking. Toyin, can you hear me? She's gone. Uchenna raised her hand. She's gone. Uchenna is not here as well. Yes, please, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you very much. I so much enjoy your lecture, and I want to commend you for your dedication and the commitment towards this class. Please, I'm just joining, and
I'm hearing you.
hello.
Yes.
Keep talking, Joseph. Joseph, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I'm just joining, and I don't know if you can do me this favor. I want probably a link or a website where I can get many questions to practice with, so that me too I can
If you
participate.
want to practice, go to YouTube.
Okay.
Go to what's it called again? App Store. There are, if you type in IELTS sample questions, you
Okay.
will see different apps coming up with IELTS sample questions.
On YouTube.
No, on App Store. You see different apps.
Okay.
There
Okay.
you can download some of these apps and you have access to the sample questions and their model answers, the way they should be answered. That
All
way,
right.
you can go ahead to compare your answer with what they have. Even though I'm not going to say 100% that you should depend on it, the reason being that some of those questions, the answers, like people that answer some of those questions and they get, maybe they score band 8, band 9, they're from Australia, from India, from many of these countries, Asian countries and the rest of them, even from other parts of Europe, where I must say the truth that their examiners are not as tough as our examiners in Nigeria. So if you depend on those answers, if you copy those questions and then you have a framework, of those their particular answer, you may not be able to meet up with our examiners' demand here. Because we work with these people here in the UK, I must tell you the truth. We work with them, and the kind of English they speak, sometimes you wonder if ever they wrote the IELTS exam. They will be talking, and you, who is a colleague, can hardly understand what they are saying. Yet, they made band 8, band 7, band 9, and they are here in the UK. I'm not saying there's any prejudice. This is social media. I'm not saying there's any form of favoritism, but maybe their questions are easier than our own. Maybe their marking schemes are different from our own. Maybe their examiners are less tight-fisted with marks than our own. In secondary school, I had a teacher who was teaching me social studies, and then he later started teaching us geography. From my JSS2 all through to SS2, when he was teaching geography, he started teaching me geography in SS1. From JSS2, when I started, when I came under his teaching, in social studies, even being among the best in class, I've never scored above 70 in social studies, being among the top best in class. He's so tight-fisted with marks that we used to call him miser, even before I knew the meaning of miser. Geography, the same thing. In fact, if you score 55 in geography, haba, consider yourself as the best. So there are some teachers that are naturally like that. Maybe we have more of them in Africa than they have in the developed world. Maybe that's why. So I can't guarantee you 100% success when you make reference to all of those things, all right? But if you just type in, even on Google, and you say IELTS sample questions, IELTS academic sample questions, now you will have different options come up for you, whether it is reading, it is writing, or it is speaking type of question. So you just need to put maybe IELTS academic writing, task 1, sample questions, and then you can click. Many will come. You have IELTS Liz will come out for you, Body will come out for you, Wanti will come out for you. So many of these teachers will come out. The same thing, Cambridge will also come out. So it depends on what you want. If you go and download Cambridge 14-15, also the books, Cambridge 14-15, the books can help you as well. There are also books like Baron. There's a Baron where you have both, what's it called? Academic and general. They are all inside. So you make your choice. There are question types. And if you type in again, IELTS exam, recent exam questions, you will see all of those things. So that way you can practice and compare what you're doing with what they have done, and then you improve on what you have done. Secondly, or finally, we have done some classes on the YouTube. They are all there on YouTube. I've been trying now. Last night, I took my time to label some of them such that when you see a video, you know whether it is reading, it is writing, if it is writing task 1, if it is writing task 2. I'm doing all of that editing, and I hope to finish before the end of the week. So you can, if you want to listen to writing task 1, you just click on it and you go ahead and you'll be in the class. And in the course of the class, sometimes, especially in writing task 1 and 2, we bring in questions and we discuss those questions in class so that you can have an understanding of the structure of the writing task, all right? You know how to answer them. So if you have those things, they should help you. Any other question? Toyin, is your network?
Yes, ma, I wanted to ask questions.
Say what you wanted to say.
Please, ma, are we meant to be submitting our writing
just
task
type
on
it
a
there. Type
Telegram?
what you want to say. Type it to everyone. Some people have submitted writing and have not even opened them to go through. Remember that I also work. As much as I take this time to, teach us, I also work. So it's not easy. And I've had issues with opening mails on my phone. I just did that correction with Mr. Tunde yesterday, and I'm able to open them on the desktop. I can guarantee you that I will go through them, but not today. Maybe from tomorrow. I'm not so sure. But I'll definitely go through them. Although I'm giving some people feedback already. Some of last time we had a class, earlier this week on Tuesday, a question came up and I said we should write, and only 3 people were able to write. Please, it's for your own good though, it's not for me. I wanted to correct those things on the platform where every other person can take correction as well. But if you make it like everything has to be inbox, then you have to wait for my response as per inbox. Another thing is, please don't go somewhere, look for one question and write it and come and send it to me, either on the platform or anywhere, and send it to me that I should come and be marking it. I won't do it too. I will not vet it. If you go and search for your question somewhere, please, when you finish writing it, go through it, correct your own English, all right? Go through it, correct your sentences. Go through it. If you are confused about anything and you ask me, it's a different thing. Please don't just write. There are questions I have given out already that I have not been able to vet. It will not be fair for me to ask people something and they are giving me answers, our feedback, and I'm not vetting. Then you will go and source for more questions from where I don't know and bring them, and then you expect me to give you a response ASAP. In the process of time, I may be able to do that, but I have priority, okay? So we give priority to what we have given out already, and that's what I'm trying to sort at the moment. So stop tagging me when you send those questions. You say, at Ojonile, come and vet. Please stop tagging me. It's not fair, okay? Uchenna, you have been unmuting yourself, and when I say you should talk, you will not talk. Now she's not in the class. Okay, she's here now. Uchenna, do you have any question, please? Obviously, she doesn't. In the absence of any other thing, Tony, I'm going to try and vet those work. They'll be sending them to the email. If you've sent, don't worry, I'll vet them hopefully before the week runs out by God's grace. I'll see you again on Tuesday. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
And you too, ma.